labor right now. So how's everybody feeling?
Feeling
Great.
All right. April 5th, 2020, quarantine interview session 2. We're going to go straight into question 1. Question 1 is how to create and maintain peace throughout so-called chaotic times. So anybody can take this, or we can treat this like a college lecture hall and just pick somebody.
I'll take it.
Yes. All right.
Vivian Muhammad, Assalamu alaikum, which means peace, everybody. I think the way you create peace is it's got to first be within you. So meditation, prayer, whatever means by which you need to accomplish that, peace starts within. So in these times of trouble, I think that everyone should focus on trying to establish peace within self, peace with self, and then work your way out from there with family and friends and those around you. But you're not going to be able to have peace with anyone else if you don't have it within.
Yes.
Love it. Anybody else?
I'll take it next.
All right.
Thank you so much, Ms. Vivian, for your response.
Absolutely.
My name is Dominique Bryant. I'm the Executive Director of Inspired Learning Institute. Been a social worker for well over 20 years, as well as first career in sales and marketing, but the overarching specialization is definitely in spiritual counseling, life skills, and life counseling. And I want to just direct our thoughts to the word peace in the Hebrew language is the word shalom. And when you're talking about peace, you have to look at it from the standpoint of there are people who don't recognize peace within. So they need an understanding of what it means to have peace or to be peaceful. And the definition that you can find in a Webster dictionary, in a biblical concordance, some of the words that are used to define peace are free from disturbance, tranquil, calm, restful, still, relaxing. And I wanted to bring our attention to that definition because when you're trying to explain to someone how to obtain something that they seemingly don't have, I like to start, because I work with young people, I like to start with breaking things down into small chunks. And so when you think about being free from disturbance, that's definitely personal. You have to think about what is in your life that is disturbing you. What is in your life that is causing a disturbance or causing you to not have calm. And there's lots of things that we can point to. Again, it's specific to an individual, but I would start with, when you're thinking about what's happening in our world right now, everyone is focused on media, listening to what, was that my time?
It's the time.
DJ on it today. Okay, I respect that. But one of the ways to free yourself from disturbances is to remove a lot of the negative energy, voices, and sounds that are happening around us as it relates to the pandemic.
Facts. Appreciate that. All right. All right. Who's looking like we're gonna go with next? It's looking like it's between Sonia or Cece.
I'll take it.
All right. All right.
Okay, hey y'all, Sonia Lowry, Chief Adventure Officer from World Next Door. and just really briefly created World Next Door out of a need for peace from within. Just like Vivian said, you don't have it inside of you, then you can't give it to others. And I created it because I was lacking peace within myself at the time. And what World Next Door does is allows us to find our adventurous side and be able to do things that we normally would not think that we're capable of, like hang gliding, like whitewater rafting, like skydiving, like traveling internationally. I'm a citizen of the world, and that brings me peace to be able to share that with other people. So in essence, I just think that when people find that thing that uniquely them, they need to take that and share it with the world, because then that way, peace is also something that you can give to others as well. So if you can find it within yourself, you can help someone else along their path as well.
All right. Cece or Regina?
I'll go.
All right.
Okay. So, hey everybody, I'm Cece.
Peace.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I am a wedding dress designer, and I've been working in the bridal business for about 22 years now. And this is just, I'm just going to say the reason that I mentioned the time in the bridal business is because I have experienced so many women who are not at peace with themselves once they take that plunge into the marriage situation over time. And it inspired me to create a business called Live Beyond the Dress. And it's all about intuitive living and being able to live on your path while you're nourishing your relationships. And I just have seen so many women, including myself, who have lost themselves and lost their sense of peace once they connect with another, and then also when kids come along. And so, who said that? You said amen, is that right? So the whole thing about it is, living intuitively is being sensitive to the energies around you and being able to connect with others and understand which moves you need to make. And the way that I encourage my daughters, my friends, even my clients to have a sense of peace and to be able to live in their purpose and their path is to first connect with the divine source, first thing in the morning. And when you connect, I typically like to set intentions for myself, for my day, for my family, for my business. And then I have to release and surrender to however that's going to show up. And that gives me so much peace and so much trust and faith in whatever the day is going to unfold for me. So that's the way that I like to encourage people to have peace, is to go within, connect with the divine, set your intentions, surrender to the process, and trust the day's unfolding. And that's my piece.
Okay.
All right. Regina?
I agree with all of my beautiful ladies already on the line. I think that for me, I've been in the military for 19 plus years, 20 in November. So there's plenty of times where I had to be by myself. And I had to learn who Regina was, because Regina was I had a lot of turmoil going on, and that was as a single person without kids or a husband. And so I had to really buckle down, and I think I have to give a lot of credit to God, because I wouldn't have stopped a lot of the go unless it was God to sit me down. It wasn't sickness my first time. It wasn't any illness. It was just, Regina, you're about to go on a deployment. You just graduated from college. and you're going to be by yourself. So what are you going to do now? And in that moment, I had to learn how to find who I was, and that's where I found my peace. I had to know who was Regina. I had to introduce myself to myself. And it honestly, it took God to do that, because I couldn't do that on my own. I was ripping and running. I was doing 10, 13 different things in one day. And that's going to school and being in the military simultaneously. So yeah, honestly, it's about reflecting yourself to yourself. And that's how you find your peace. You have to know who you are in order to be peaceful.
Facts. Okay, well, we got some good news. We have Liz in the building, and I'm actually going to tell a story after Liz, because a lot of people love Liz today, and that's why it was so hard for her to get on here. Funny story about her after this. So, Liz, you came in right on top. This is funny. All of these problems happened for you to come in right at the end. So, your timing is still impeccable. So, we will go straight into it. I know for a fact a lot of people call you with this question. How do you find or create and maintain peace in a so-called chaotic time? And you being in PR, you do this on a Monday, let alone through a quarantine. And then we'll tell a funny story about you.
Oh my God. I don't know if I want to hear about this funny story, but
you're gonna love it.
But the way I find, I get a lot of calls all the time in reference to, finding peace. I mean, I guess you can say finding solutions to problems. And one of the main things is, I'm sure someone maybe has already touched on it, but just really just getting into a quiet place. And, after you talk about it, you rant about it, you vent about it, what is really the underlying problem? And how do we find a solution for it? We can always focus on the negative, always focus on what's gone wrong, but how can you settle your spirit, settle your mind, and just come up with a solution? And 9 times out of 10, the person that is talking about a problem already has a solution. They want you to confirm it. And so just, getting into a quiet space, a quiet place. I'm always in meditation. I encourage, those that I counsel, those that I work with to, always seek God first, or, and that's one of the main components of how I keep peace and especially in a time like this.
Okay. Love that answer. Okay, here we go. So, DJ CJ, did you want to go, or did you want me to go last? Because we got to bring our perspective too.
I just been taking notes.
Okay.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I just been taking notes. I just wanted to reiterate, of course, everybody's been saying maintaining peace. Someone had kind of alluded toward, keeping drama out your life. Then Sister CC was talking about, her experience with, of course, the life beyond the dress and everything, the whole experience behind that. And, of course, Liz just mentioned the whole getting in a quiet space. I thought all of those were profound. So I didn't want to add anything. I just wanted to lift those back up. I thought those were some good points to make.
Okay. Well, I'll add on to a little bit, and then we'll go on to question 2. I'm going to add in knowing your assignment. And again, I'm going to go into the definition of knowing your assignment. That'll bring peace, and this is what I'm thinking. Tell me what y'all think about this. An assignment is a task that is given to students, usually as a part of their study. They have to submit correct, if not flawless, assignments for getting higher grades. First of all, when do we stop becoming students?
Hopefully never.
Right. And how many of us have mastered our assignments? And before you answer, remember high school, remember college, remember the block schedule, remember the 45-minute classes, remember the planners for each class, remember all of that, all of those assignments we managed. But when it comes to my destiny or where I'm going in life, I don't know my assignments, or I stopped using that structure that got me through learning up until this point, whatever learning you were dealing with. So I'm going to say knowing your assignment is going to bring you the peace that you can actually have and use at home and when it's time to leave. And now, The only reason why I'm saying that is Liz Dixon has an assignment that she has mastered, and for years she pours into people, right? So Sonia, you mind if I can tell you about our phone call? Because I got another phone call too, right? Sonia calls me and says, "Who is this person that's sending me money?" It's like, is this real? I don't just ain't nothing for free. I'm not just gonna accept no money if I didn't do nothing to earn it, right? And she was like, I know that name Liz, right? And then everybody else was hitting me up like, well, who is Liz? And I'm gonna take the money. One person was like, well, I don't know who this is, but I'm gonna take the money. It's a blessing. They shouldn't have sent it to. So I understand both routes, right? Liz has been pouring into people for the longest. Usually when I start company, sometimes I call her just to pour into me, because again, when people pour into you, they pour their intention into you, right? So imagine getting bad luck money. Imagine getting money from negative people and you're getting their attention, because again, every ground is, well, because again, I can't wait till Sister Vivian can touch on that on question number 3. But since the ground is made of soil and water fertilizes it and the body turns into a soil-like substance, and we're mostly made of water, we're like little gardens. And I don't even like to receive money no more from bad gardens, if that makes sense. So to make a long story short, if Liz cash app y'all, you might go through some expedient outcomes. That's all I'm gonna leave y'all with. Funny story.
I just said it was hilarious because my phone rang and I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute, what is this? And I said, somebody accidentally sent me something.
My response too, Sonia.
I said, somebody accidentally sent me something, or it's a scam, and I'm not opening it. I'm deleting it. I'm getting ready to get this off of my phone. And then I said, wait a minute, this name sounds familiar. Let me go back real quick and look at your list for tonight. And I said, that's Liz. And I called Jason. I said, Jason, is this a mistake? And he said, no, it's not a mistake. She's real cool and she is pouring into you. So I said, please tell her from the bottom of my heart. And so now I can tell you directly, Liz, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate the sentiment. It is a beautiful thing when people that don't know you believe a little bit of what you got going on. So that really gives me some encouragement. So thank you. I appreciate it.
No doubt. And that's the overall goal. So if you're watching now, or if you're watching it, in the future when we send out the recording, if anybody touches you, touches your heart, touches your destiny, touches your assignment, whatever, please pour into them, because they're not going to ask for it. We're going to ask for it because, again, thank you. They can't take people to the bank.
And now, Jason, if you don't mind, I think I said you're welcome, but I was on mute. And the other young, there's some people that I didn't get a cash app because I was trying to confirm their cash apps or that they were going to participate tonight. But everyone, I was just led to, and this is kind of what we're talking about here tonight, is that I felt like if Jason brought all of us to the table, whether I knew in depth what you do and what you are assigned to do, I was just led to pour into you and so into you, starting with the host. And so from that perspective, I just felt like, the currency needed to exchange and it needed to flow. And I was just going to be obedient. And, I feel like everyone here has something to share with the world. And I speak blessings over everything that you got, that your hands touch, and especially during this time. So, yeah. Amen.
All right. So here we go.
Thank you, Liz.
You're welcome.
We might have a moment of silence for that.
You're so stupid.
Okay, here we go. Question number 2, and anybody can take this. What are the best ways to create and maintain discipline during this quarantine? CC?
So I think the biggest thing that I encourage people to do is keep your eyes on the prize. Woo! And think about the master plan that you have for your life and yourself and your family and your business. And when be a big picture thinker. And when you can do that, you can create discipline or create routines that keep you disciplined throughout the day. And for me, I like to get straight up in the morning, get dressed, take a shower, get dressed, comb my hair, put on something that I feel good in. It doesn't have to be, I don't glam up for the day. I work from home every day. And I only even go into the shop one day a week to do fittings. But aside from that, I'm at home. And when you have a stringent schedule and deadlines to meet, and you could just lounge around in your pajamas all day and feel some type of way. And, it just is not a lot of energy involved in that. So I like to get up, get dressed. I do my little workout. I get my mind right, my body right. I get my spirit right. And then I do the task set before me for the day. But the biggest thing about that is keep your eyes on the prize and let that be your motivation.
All right.
Dominique's funny. That's awesome.
Remember, I told you I'm also a teacher, Dominique, so got my props over here to let y'all know. Good job.
It's encouraging.
Well, Dominique, I want to ask you a quick question. We'll go into you then. Do you wake up, because I know CC said she wakes up in the morning, gets her mind right, and da-da-da-da-da. Do you wake up in the morning and teach children in China?
I do. I wake up every morning, sometimes as early as 3:30 in the morning for a 4 a.m. class. And this is a part-time job. So, of course, I do this before I start my full-time job.
Wow.
Which also sometimes means 3 jobs for me. People that know me know I'm a little Jamaican. But yes, I get up in the morning and I teach kids in China. And so to tie that to what we're talking about and to answer the question, one of the things that I hold on to with regards to being disciplined is kind of like the cliche or the figure of speech that we hear: dress for the job that you want, live for the job that you want. And when it comes to proper communication, being assertive in your communication, as well as being compassionate in communication. Because I work with young people that are not that excited about learning. Many of them are not that excited about life in general. And when you are working with people on a regular basis that are struggling through life, sometimes that can kind of jump on you. And when you're struggling, that can alter your ability to be disciplined. You can start dragging in the morning. You don't want to get up, or you don't want to, whatever your normal routine is. So I have added things into my day that I am excited about, or that are rewarding, that are glorifying to God, so that no matter how I'm feeling, I gotta get up. So in the morning, especially when my job with my teams was really tough for me a few years ago, like getting up in the morning was a struggle. But when I know that I have to be in front of my camera at a certain time for excited kids that are excited to learn, and I get that cake, that causes you to be disciplined. So that alarm clock goes off, at the time that I need in order to be prepared for my day. But the other thing that I want to address too with being disciplined, something that CC touched on, is having a solid routine, and not just a routine that accomplishes tasks, but a routine that feeds your soul. So one of the things that I do when I get up in the morning without fail, I have a prayer group that that I pray.
Let's see here.
I get up and I pray, to God on my own.
I am, but I'm not getting the full thing because I'm switching different angles.
Of my day that bring me peace, that bring me joy. And one of the things that I also do in the morning that keeps me disciplined when it comes to eating is I juice and I make my shake.
Please request. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so it says Liz is the host right now.
No matter what's happening, quarantine, not quarantine.
Yeah, it's still going. Like Dominion is still talking.
That would still be done.
It just says that Liz took over as the host.
You have to have those pieces of your life that you have identified that bring you joy, that feed you, that feed your soul, and you add them in as points in your day that you know will help you.
No, I can't see you right now.
Okay, so looks like we lost Jason. If you all remember the question, we just go with the next person if you all want to elaborate on that same question.
Okay. Discipline for me is more about, yes, staying focused, but also what is my time going towards? I think that as children of God, we have to learn how to manage our time.
Yeah, I am.
And I think
it's recording
now
you talking,
with the
but
quarantine, I don't know about you guys, but I prayed and prayed for like a 38-hour day, like almost every day. I need more time, God. I need more time. And so for me, it was more well, Regina, what is your time going towards? What do you need to do? What do you need to take away? Are you spending too much time sitting around on social media? Are you spending too much time just jabbing it with just friends? And so I had to learn how to really discipline myself when it came to time management. If I want to achieve a goal, I had to write it down. I had to figure out, okay, well, this is the end result. This is what I want to become. This is what I want to do. This is and it could be something simple as just, okay, I want to make this meal. It takes a recipe. Well, how much time do you need? And then what are all the ingredients? Do you have all the ingredients? And then what is it the utensils? What utensils do you need? I mean, it's a whole big ordeal for just that small project. And I think for me, I had to focus on a specific project and then backward planning. In order to discipline myself to focus for that goal. And of course, time management is involved with that because as I'm going, I don't have time to talk to you, son, right now. I love you, baby, but mama's about to burn the biscuits. So I had to do those type of things. And I say that with my son, and I'm just joking. But in when I'm talking to my coworkers or I'm talking to whoever's on the project with me, I have to remind myself and them, hey, we need to get back to work in some kind of nice sort of way, but I still have to put my foot down and discipline myself because I've lost a lot of different things, and time is one of them if you don't discipline yourself.
And I just want to
I just keep hearing a theme from both the first and the second question. Jason spoke about your assignment. Sister just spoke about your purpose. And I think they all really tie into the same thing. And perhaps this quarantine period that we're in, or this coronavirus time period, will allow for us, if we look at it as a gift, if you don't know your purpose, or if maybe you've gotten off of your purpose, this would be the time to get quiet, do the meditation, do the prayer, whatever you need to do to hone into exactly, wait a minute, what am I here for? What is my life for? Once you kind of hone in on that, then I do believe in having a plan. And I believe everything, but I do believe you got to have a plan. You can't just get up in the morning willy-nilly. You got to have a plan. Sometimes my mother and I sit down at the kitchen table after coffee, which is vital. That's always the plan. Prayer, coffee, and set up a to-do list. And prior to the to-do list for that day, we have what goals do we accomplish in order to be able to get from where we are to where we want to be. And my daughter just wrote today, doing a fast, and she wrote this. Who owns your time, owns your mind. Own your own time, and you will know your own mind. And that's a quote from Jose Arguelles. And basically, the theme was time. So time management has to do with purpose. And so once you find your purpose, then you can start aligning your life.
What are the best foods? And we have that in parentheses. In parentheses, we have and times to eat during quarantine. Again, question: what are the best foods to eat during quarantine? And of course, the times and food. I tell you what, I want Vivian, because she's obviously, y'all can see she's got her, the quarantine 19 mask on right now. And she looks like she's in the greenhouse. So we're gonna start. I think that's a good starting point right there with Vivian, and as far as like food and whatnot. So we'll let her respond with that, and then we'll open it up for anyone else.
Okay. As far as the best foods, I'm kind of holding one. This is broccoli. system, they really are the same thing. Because when you detoxify, you automatically build your immune system or make it stronger. Broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, those are cruciferous vegetables that are high in the type of antioxidants and phytonutrients that we need. In the nation, I'm a member of the Nation of Islam. We believe in bean soup. The navy bean is a very potent bean. It's loaded with fiber. It's loaded with a lot of nutrients, magnesium, but it also helps to draw radiation and toxicity out of the body. So anything you can do with navy beans, we make taco salad with navy beans because we don't eat meat. So we eat a lot of navy beans. We make bean soup. We make chili and things of that nature. But the main thing you want to make sure you do is get enough of vegetables and fruit into your diet. Bananas, strawberries, they help to draw out toxins as well. Apples, they're loaded with pectin, and pectin helps to draw things out of your body as well. I would highly recommend chlorophyll or chlorella, and I would also highly recommend a dose of vitamin C and some selenium and bee pollen. So there you go, right there.
All right, I gotta follow behind Vivian on that one.
And I would also say the time to eat is sometime. I wouldn't eat all day. If you eat all day, your body's not going to process for one meal in a day anyway. The best time to eat, sometime between 4 and 6 o'clock, be your best bet. Woo! Perfect.
Awesome, Vivian. Thank you so much. And I just want to add to that, first thing in the morning, and this is one of those discipline things, like I'm actually drinking it now, but first thing in the morning when I first wake up, I drink hot water, warm water, however hot you can stand it, with lemon, limes, ginger, and turmeric. I pretty much add ginger and turmeric to most things that I drink and eat, even
yes.
Those are just some great immune boosters, as well as, they do wonders for inflammation, as well as, detoxification. But the other thing that I want to say is I'm a huge proponent on doing what is in line with you and your energy. So when it comes to the time of day that you eat, I think we need to look at how we eat based on just very similar what we talked about with how we're disciplining our time. Each of our days is very different. So I usually don't eat solid foods until almost the afternoon. If I do eat solid foods, it's after I've already been up and filled my body with the liquids that need to be filled, and I stay away from things that are fake energy. So I don't do sugar, I don't do coffee. I drink a lot of natural herb teas, but again, I pinpoint those things that are specific to me and for what I need to accomplish right now. So if I'm at home and I didn't work out today and I don't really have anywhere to be and I'm just kind of lounging like yesterday, a lot of liquids, a lot of fruit. And to be honest, even yesterday, I probably only had spinach as far as a vegetable yesterday, but a lot of fruit, a lot of vitamin C. Citrus fruits during this time are really key. But again, I'm a huge proponent of really directing people to figuring out what works for you and planning your food and your meals the same way you plan your day. What do you need and what do you need to get out of into your body?
CJ, can I take it?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I can't tell people what to eat, but I can recommend what not to eat. I'm from the South, and so originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and so that means we have meat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then also for snack we have meat, and then and then we put a little gravy on everything. So in this time of Corona, we need to, and we have unfortunately buried a lot of my family, and at the funeral, what are they serving? The same thing to kill them, right? So we need to make sure of the things that we are putting into our bodies. Limiting meat is one of the big things that my fiance and I have started to do, and that was very hard, like I said, coming from my background. But you should only have very small portions of meat if you are going to eat it only a few times a week, not a day. And so making more fresh vegetables and fruit and grains and all of the things that Ms. Vivian was talking about is very, very, very important to our life. And a lot of us are dying of high cholesterol and everything else. And this corona is making sure that we're shut in. So now we're on top of that, and we are not getting our exercise or even walking 2 steps, let alone, from the kitchen to the couch. So we just really need to pay attention and treat our bodies better. Limit the amount of food that we eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, make them smaller. You're really not hungry, you're bored. So try to make sure that you eat fewer times during the day, fewer amounts during the day, maybe 5 times a day, but very small amounts of food. And I think that that may be what helps get us through this thing.
Right. So question 3.
Yes, I wanted to jump in. I went to, a lot of people don't know this part, but I actually spent my undergraduate at IU learning kinesiology. And so that's what I did. And I enjoyed it, taking care of some of the athletes. And of course, we're very, very proactive instead of retroactive with medicine. So one of the things is learning that nutrition is more for you to operate in your body versus eating as a sport. Okay, and it was one of the things that I know Sonia was talking about in her upbringing. In my upbringing too, eating was a sport. Every time we gathered, that was the thing to do. And what you bringing? Well, I'm bringing KYs and so on and so forth. So it's not a sport. And I think for me, most of us probably learned that the hard way, that hey, this probably isn't good. I feel myself more sluggish than anything. So one of the things that I did was, one, I started to look at it as it's what my body needs to fuel itself. And then also fasting is very important. So please make sure you're fasting, even if it's, I think for me, I had to take baby steps, such as eliminating sugars that Dominique was talking about. Dominique, I'm sorry if I pronounced it right. Okay. And then, doing those fastings and again, taking baby steps. Start with maybe just sugar, maybe just doing clear fluids, things like that. And then water. Oh my God, water. Make sure you drink your water. I like to do room temperature water. It's just easier for my body to absorb that faster than cool water, even though a nice summer day and the cool ice drink is good, right? Right? And then I will also say 3 meals a day. Make sure it's 3 meals a day, small. Even if you are sitting at home, make sure you are eating your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I learned that in the military. It was funny. I thought they were overfeeding us. I'm like, what? Why are we eating so much? And as I was thinking about it, it helps your metabolism, keeps your body moving all day. And I understand we only digest 1 meal a day, but it's still moving that. It's still going through your intestines and digestion system. So make sure you do those small spurts throughout the day. And then I had to do a cutoff. I shut down everything 2-3 hours before I go to bed. Prayerfully, that's 10 o'clock. So I try to shut everything off at 7. So just those 3 things. Water is not a sport, and make sure you continually eat small things at least 3 times a day. And of course, as you eat, meditate. Pray over your food. Get your prayers in. Talk to God. Convene with God. not only to say thank you for my meal, but thank you, Lord, for being able to feel my body, and those type of things, I think will also help.
What are some useful tips that can help upgrade relationship partnerships during the quarantine? If I can jab at it. CC.
Yeah, so my biggest thing about that is being intentional about raising your vibration. And one of the quickest ways that I know how to tell people to raise your vibration is, and I know that everybody's always talking about, oh, make a grateful list, make a thankful list, and all of that. And what I'm going to say is the quickest way to raise your vibration is this is what I do. Speak out loud the things that you are grateful for. And it's not just because you're wanting to tell God that you're so thankful for what a wonderful life you have, but when you speak out loud, you start ripping off all the things that you're grateful for and all the people you love and the things that are wonderful in your life and all of that. It really does raise your vibration within you, even if no one else hears it. And yes, you want God to know that you're thankful for your life, but it instantly raises your vibration. And when you have your vibration raised, it affects everybody in the house, including your children, your mates, and anybody even who's not in your house that you're connected to. My friends are affected by my vibration, even when I don't even know it. And they end up calling me and, just reaching out. And so the first thing I'll say is to raise your vibration. And another thing that I know we're all doing anyway, but it's another great way to connect with your mate or just even your family, is cook a meal together. When you cook a meal together, it's a synergy that goes on between all the people involved in creating the meal. And that also raises everybody's vibration. It's like a heart connection going around the energy in the room. Okay, so that's it. Raise your vibration and you'll connect with your loved ones. Make a meal, everybody, together, and it'll make a little happiness in the home.
Okay. So, real quick, we're going to do a quick pivot because we've had a lot of people sitting on the call for a while, and we don't want to drop those calls. We just want to get in at least a couple questions before we continue number 4. So if there's anyone that's just listening in, I see there's Brittany, LaShawn, there's an area code 161, look like, if I'm looking at that right. I don't know if that's that's a weird number. But then there's a Tina Rogers. Y'all have questions, y'all can send those directly to me or to Jason. Or you can just start talking. You can unmute and you can talk and let us know what your questions are. Okay. So we'll give it about 5 seconds. If we don't get anything, then we're going to move on with the question. I see anything. Okay, so we have, I have somebody saying, hey, okay, well, whatever. Hey to you, what's up? Okay, so we're gonna move on to 4. So we're still on 4. So is there anyone else want to tackle number 4? Number 4 was, just to recap, it's what are some useful tips that can help upgrade relationships, partnerships during quarantine?
I'll jump on that, DJ CJ. I'm an empty nester now, so I actually don't have anyone in my home that I have to contend with on a regular basis. However, I have neighbors that I contend with on a regular basis, obviously young people that I work with, and then I have a 23-year-old of my own. And one thing that I would say, and shout out to Vivian for being the example of this right now. I manage over 150 gardens here in Houston, Texas, and was responsible for developing a work readiness training program in the garden for young people. And one thing that I learned, man, listen, Mother Nature, we call it Mother Nature for a reason, because nature nurtures us. Get yourself in nature. Get around living things. Like most of my friends that are on this call know, I have plants everywhere, have always been the plant lady, have helped other people become plant people, because plants they give life, and it's also a form of distraction at times. But one of the things that I will say, when I started teaching my young men to get out in the garden became a place of solace. It became a place of refuge. It became a place that we did all of our critical conversations. I went from counseling young men in my office to counseling young men in the garden at their behest, at their request, because they felt safe there. There is something about being connected to the earth, being connected to what is natural, what is the closest to God, that really transforms your mood, your attitude, and it changes the direction of conversation. You know, it may sound hokey, but if you think about being in the sunshine and what having the sun beam on your face does for you internally, it's a very similar transaction between the air, nature, the sounds that we hear. So, you know, I know that they have us quarantined and staying inside, but the outside ain't there. So, you know, if you having trouble, your kids is acting crazy, or you just stressed today, go outside. Whatever hard conversations, good conversations, whatever needs to happen, try it outside and see, don't it change things for you?
Absolutely.
So basically you're saying that the air that we're breathing outside is fresh air, is free of emissions, it's a lot safer to just breathe in the fresh air from outside.
Even if it's got some emissions. Trust me when I say, God done built in some filters that we need to take advantage of that you can only get outside. Not emissions.
Okay.
He tried it.
Anybody else have a question? I'm gonna read it one more time. What is the best method to eliminate? Did I say that right? Yeah. Best way to eliminate fear, anxiety, depression during quarantine and forever.
Vivian, do you want to go first?
No, okay, you go ahead and then I'll go.
Okay. Well, you know, I love what, you know, if you've ever been around our host, Jason Miller, for any period of time, he talks about the art of duality. And one of the things I would say to combat fear, you got to have faith. To, you know, two things can't occupy the same space at the same time. So if, you know, when we're talking about anxiety, when you're, you know, I mean, whether that's, you know, breathing exercises that's according to your faith, if it's inspiration, if you believe in a higher power, if you believe in God, for me, I definitely have to wake up and meditate. I have to pray. I have to listen to music that calms my spirit. Being a woman of faith, although, you know, we have all of our exercises and we're all powerful, you know, individuals in our own areas in lanes, you have to work at that. You have to, it's like working out, you know, you have to continue to work out. And especially when you feed yourself the news, if you feed yourself all of the negative things that are going on, you know, every single day, all day, of course you're going to have fear. You're going to have anxiety. You're going to have depression. I mean, this is not a good space to see people, and you know, I mean, in droves passing away suddenly. So you have to work very, very hard. And I mean, you may have to call on, you know, you may have to call Sonia, you may have to call Dominique, you may have to call Vivian or DJ CJ and say, hey, today I'm not having a good day. Be honest with yourself and say, hey, I am dealing with some anxiety, I'm dealing with some fear. And then immediately start reading scripture, start reading affirmations, whatever that is, because fear and faith cannot occupy the same space. And so that's one of the ways that I, you know, combat fear, combat anxiety, being a single mom of 4, each and every day. I mean, I got homeschool, I got all kinds of stuff going on, and clients on a nationwide level, and just all of these different things being thrown in the mix. I have to just work at it. I mean, and it's not a master skill, but I have to make sure that I stay connected with those who, may be stronger than me on that particular day or that particular topic. She's an empty nester. I may be able to call her and say, hey, Dominique, how do you deal with it? I got all this going on, and get some advice, and just don't do it alone. That's my advice.
Okay, so real quick, just want to bring everybody up to speed. So I'm gonna bring Jason back in after Sister Vivian. Vivian's gonna go ahead and respond to that, but just so you know, because me and Jason got a system to this, so I've been like running it. So Jason's back on, so he'll be managing the conversation again. I'll be messing with the time. Go ahead, Vivian.
Okay, everything that everyone else said, I just think that starting off your day with prayer, but I really think that two things. We got to educate, and then we got to get to work. I'm a real firm believer in work, because if you got something stressing you out, work. You're not going to get from point A to point B without work. See where you are, see where you want to be, map out a plan, and get to work. That helps to basically shift your focus away from everything that's going on, and helps you to really tap into that first thing, which we talked about 4 questions ago, purpose. You got to get to work, and you got to educate. I really believe that you can take fear out of the equation once you educate. Educate yourself on the coronavirus, what it is, what it isn't, and then prepare. Make the steps, take your power, stand in your power. Don't cower like, oh, this virus and blah, blah, blah. Stand in your power. Okay, well, it's airborne. Okay, well, get a mask. Make a mask. You can't buy them on Amazon, make one. Everybody's making them now. Educate yourself on the materials that you need that will best block it. Educate yourself. Use the internet, use your phone, use those tools to go online, figure out what the virus is, what it isn't, okay, who it attacks, why it attacks, and then get the information you need, get the education you need, and then get to work. Working on your purpose, working on protecting yourself from the virus, working on all of those little things that you have let go because you didn't have time. Now is that time to work on those things and work without fear. Work without fear. And education and giving yourself knowledge will help you do that.
Jason, I just want to kind of jump on the back end of everything that has been said. First off, love eliminates fear. God didn't give us the spirit of fear, but of love and of a sound mind. And so love eliminates fear. But what are you loving? You have to love the thing that fills you with the believing, that fills you with the faith, that fills you with those affirming thoughts that keep you moving forward. For me, that's God and His Word. So, when I'm afraid, Liz, touched on this, I read scripture. I go right to the scripture in the Bible that talks about, people that were afraid, but they pushed through it, pushed past it, loved through it, whatever you want to say. But I also want to bring to our attention Matthew chapter 14, verse 27. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. Acknowledging the divine, acknowledging that there is a higher power that is walking with you, talking to you, leading you. But I also want to bring our attention to the phrase, be of good cheer. In the Hebrew language, when you translate that phrase, it actually means get your thoughts well arranged. Generally, when you're afraid of something, your mind is running, like your thoughts are everywhere, especially with all this information that's coming in, like your thoughts are everywhere. Be of good cheer means get your thoughts well arranged. Think about what you need to think about. Remove the distractions of everything else and focus in on what you need for right now. I am a huge proponent of developing strategies and plans that are specific to what you need for right now. So you get your thoughts focused on, okay, it might be airborne. A million people could be dying right now, but I ain't.
So what I need for right now in this space, for me not to be afraid, I need to do I need to call, I need to ask, whatever it is, like Vivian said. Work your mind so that your thoughts are well documented, well planned, and precise for what you need for the day. That helps with relationships, that helps with discipline, that helps with everything that we've talked about. Having your thoughts well arranged for what is required of you at this very time.
Real quick, Jason, before you come on, I just wanted to add to that reference point. I believe in the Bible is John 4:18. It talks about perfect love casts out fear. So, and I would even add my own personal experience. There's certain things that I don't necessarily like, but I've noticed sometimes when you challenge your fear, cast out fear too. A lot of the times when we fearful of stuff, and we actually, like, some people don't like roller coasters, but they say after the first time you ride a roller coaster, you're good after that. So it's, that's just an example. I just wanted to add that. Jason, it's yours, man. The mic is yours.
Can I say something before you jump on? Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead, Virginia.
Okay. Myself during that time, I would highly suggest being able to just let it go. And when I say let it go, I'm not saying let it roll off your shoulder. I mean, come to grips with the fact that you are experiencing what you're experiencing. Because for me, I was pushing it down so deep that it came out as a volcano, and it was very disrupting to everyone around me. So I had to really come to grips with the fact that I was feeling that way. I was feeling the fear and anxiety and depression, and I was very in a dark place at that time when I came back from deployment. So I would say, if you have to cry, cry. If you have to scream, scream. If you let it out, because if you don't experience that, it's going to show up in different areas. You have to deal with it, and then embrace it, let it go. Once you get it out, and then Regina, all right, let's go. What do we have to do? Like Vivian was saying, research. Like Dominique and Liz was saying, get into the Bible. But you have to first be able to acknowledge that you're feeling that way and deal with it at that moment, because if not, you're not only hurting yourself, but you're going to hurt other people around you. And we were talking about vibrations earlier. I just think that that's important. People are so afraid to just scream and just cry and just acknowledge that the fact that they're feeling that way, that they want to hide and make things worse than what it really is.
So when fear breaks into our house, our mind, how many times have you pointed to it and said, I am scared? No, y'all looked at me funny when I said I was Joe Smith. But y'all said y'all was scared before. Watch this. Have worry ever broke into your house or temple or mind, whatever you want to call it? And have you ever said, I am worried? Have you ever said, I'm depressed? Y'all see where I'm going, right? Y'all can say, I'm scared, I am worried, I'm depressed. But when I said I'm Joe Smith, y'all looked at me like I was psycho. Jason, you're Jason Miller. Why would you point to Joe Smith breaking into your house and say, you're Joe Smith? And I say, exactly. That sounds insane, just like saying, I am scared. Oh, I get it, Jason. Okay, I get it. Hold on. You're saying we've been taught to become what we're experiencing? Duh. So have you ever heard of people when they commit suicide, they shoot themselves? They don't want to shoot themselves. They want to shoot the Joe Smith that they became, or the scared that they became. They want to shoot it out of them. They want to kill it out of them, right? Because they became it. You see what I'm saying? Okay. I told you we was going to kill it. All I did was separate it. Now it's time to kill it. Now, I'm going to give you another analogy. It makes no sense until the end, but here we go. We're all brother and sister, and mom tucks us in at night, right? And says, good night, turns off the lights, and we keep a really messy room, so guess what? That pile of clothes looks like something. That looks like something. Oh my God, that looks like something. And you see all this, you see what I'm going through right now. And then mom hears it and turns on the light, and guess what you say? That's not a crocodile. That's not a monster. That's just a pile of clothes. That's just the web. You ever done that? What happens when mom turns on the light or enlightenment happens? Where did all that go? It dissipated, right? So first of all, you can't become it. You're not scared. You're Dominique. You're not worried. You're Sonia. You're not depressed. You're Regina. Watch this. You're Regina experiencing worry. You're Sonia experiencing depression. You're Dominique experiencing fear. Just like I'm Jason experiencing Joe Smith. But if I become Joe Smith, that makes zero sense for me to cope with that whole situation. How in the world can Jason Miller become Joe Smith, right? And then, how do you kill it? How do you kill fear, worry, and depression? One word. You know it to death. Have you ever heard, most times you're scared because you don't know how to get out of that, or you're worried because you don't know how to get out of that situation. You're depressed because you don't know how to get out of it. Watch this. Have you ever heard the fear of the It's actually scary to not know. Have you ever been lost? How does that feel? Only reason why it feels horrible because you don't know where you're going. Not knowing is the worst thing in the world. So the most insane thing that you could ever say to yourself is, I didn't know that. That's the most insane thing you can ever say to yourself is, I didn't know that. Because again, everything that you go through under the umbrella of fear, worry, and depression is under the opposite umbrella of knowing. You know it to death. It's like an alarm clock. I love fear, worry, and depression. I love it. You know why? It's like a beeper. And it beeps me. So anytime I have fear, worry, and depression, it says beep, 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 beep. Time to know me to death. Because what do? We separate ourselves from fear, worry, and depression. We don't want to learn our way through fear. We separate ourselves from fear. No, you go straight forward and know it to death. Same thing with depression. So at the end of the day, the cure to fear, worry, and depression is knowing. And again, if you don't know, you get with somebody to know. You never stop knowing it to death.
Man, that was powerful. I hope you come back. Yeah, does anybody have any points on that?
I'd like to just follow up on that. From a clinical standpoint, I just want to address the depression part because sometimes, depression can get lumped in with all of the other emotions that we feel on a regular basis. And if you've never dealt with depression, depression is a different kind of beast. And what I want to say, having experienced depression and even through depression, I taught workshops to the Department of Defense on how to manage your life through depression. And I want to say, again, from a clinical standpoint, being my profession is social work, you have to treat depression like you would treat any other debilitating mental illness or disease. You have to systematically work your way through that thing. So what Jason was saying about knowing, you have to know what depression is, what it does to you personally, how it affects you personally, and then you have to know what strategies you personally can use in order to manage through the process. I'm a huge fan of bringing into your space, into your reality, the thing in which you wish to see. And I've said that several times. Just like you dress for the job you want, you manage the life that you want, you add into your day the things that you want into your day. If you are trying to manage depression, you have to do the same thing. If feeling a certain way, you don't want to feel that way, then you have to surround yourself with things and plan into your life and plan into your day things that are opposite of that. I know when I dealt with deep depression, I knew the time of year, I knew symptoms that would occur, I knew, what to look for, and it was very hard you can't ignore it, and you can't just wish it away. First of all, you got to manage through it. And so I would surround myself with things that gave me visually or, some other stimulus of what I needed. So I would surround myself. I got into the habit of buying flowers. I would buy flowers. I would light candles. I would listen to certain music. I would surround myself with certain people. I mean, I would still be stressed, but you don't have to live that depression, and you don't have to own that feeling. I love what Jason talked about in naming things, you know, and not calling yourself that thing. Using your confession and your actions to bring about the thing that you want. So I think it's real important when we're talking about things that clinically there are people that struggle with those things. You know, we give strategies for managing through that process because eliminating it may not be an option at the moment, but definitely living up to a higher standard is.
Anybody else on some of what Jason was saying, which I thought was extremely powerful?
Did it cut me off at all the way, or did y'all hear everything?
We got the gist of it. You know,
okay.
I was going to add one other thing too, and I know we're getting close to the end. Not only acknowledging it, but saying that you have the power to conquer it. Because it's, you know, I know we say it cliche and we be like mind over matter. We hear that a lot, but that is real. This mind is what controls everything. So if you let stress and fear and all that stuff just consume your mind, it's gonna play out. I think maybe Regina was mentioning it earlier. Like your body will tell on itself. It starts to do different things. When you get sick, you have panic attacks. All of this stuff, it starts to happen because you in denial. You're not saying that, hey, I'm really dealing with something, and then you're not reminding yourself that you can overcome it. So I think those are important. After you acknowledge it, say you can overcome it and take the steps to overcome it.
Facts.
Say, okay, what can I do? What can I learn from this pain? What can I learn from this trauma? What can I learn from this experience? And just sometimes just changing how you see it is what needs to happen. You can look at quarantine, for instance, as a punishment. I can't go nowhere. Or you can say, I'm quarantined. I don't have to go anywhere. I can read, I can write, I can pray, I can do this, all this. So again, reorienting how you choose to frame it. Because sometimes that's the problem, is where we see a situation, immediately we think we don't like it, and maybe we don't like it, but maybe if we reframe how we choose to see it, then all of a sudden we can see our way through it. I do think that you have to take ownership of it and never let go of your power. I think it was Paramahansa Yogananda, somebody said, you know, if you have the power to get yourself into a situation, guess what? You have the power to get yourself out of it.
So we have time now, right? But are we recovering from being too busy? That's why a lot of people aren't moving. Are we recovering from being too busy? And how do you stop that train that's been going west or east for 1 trillion miles an hour, and your life that you need to create is the opposite direction? So again, are we recovering from busy, and how do you change directions when you've been going so fast and now you're just stopped? Whatever. We're going to stop it here. Who wants to take it? Okay. And can you unmute your mic? Because I'm on a different computer.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
So I always tell my girlfriend, I go. I'm sorry, I'm a surgical first assistant and a nurse for 30-some years. And I have kids that are in college and sophomore in high school and college that are high-level athletes. So I go all the time. And I am loving just being. I'm loving it. I mean, I can breathe. still, be quiet, and have quality time with my children. You know, they're teenagers and a college student, so the majority of the time, they don't want to, you know, they're doing their thing and they're, you know, still in class and stuff, doing stuff online. But for us to be able to be together and, you know, being a mom is my greatest joy. So being able to be with my kids and cook and play cards or just be has been wonderful for me.
Okay, can I ask you a challenging question? And again, I'm being silly for a reason, but I just want to get your thing going. It's just hypothetically. Say hypothetically, we didn't really get out of slavery, but we kind of got out of slavery. Could we really rest under those circumstances, or could we rest better if we were in a more freer state? Now, again, this is a hypothetical situation, but if we knew where we're at according to our ancestors and basically the people that lived and died for us to be like, keep that baton going, how much rest could we get under those circumstances? And again, I'm just trying to take the conversation to another level. Anybody want to take that? Or Angela, if you want to take that.
I can jump in, Jason.
Okay.
Well, first of all, we are, in my humble opinion, we're way behind time. So we don't need to be resting at this point. And one reason why I say that to bring it down to modern times is look at the current state we're in right now. I've been looking at the numbers in terms of how the coronavirus has been contracted in different areas of the communities in our nation, in our United States of America, so to speak. It's the inner cities that they're not talking about. The inner city zip codes, the lower incomes, the people that are relegated to go to essential jobs. It's those that are more vulnerable to this virus that we catch. So I look at stuff like that and I think about the resources that we have in place for our own people. So in terms of sitting, you know, taking a break time is over. Really, this is an opportunity for us that work for corporate America or have an hourly job that may be unemployed right now. This is an opportunity to do something for ourselves, put some type of paradigm in place for us to be able to lean on ourselves and not lean on the government and lean on other people to do for us. So anything referencing, you know, our sojourn in America, the history of who our people were before us, at the end of the day, they would be proud of us if we had our own economic development, our own things in place for us to be able to take care of ourselves. So no rest. No rest.
Like hospitals.
Yeah, no rest right now.
Like, so let's take Angela, right? What if we could take this as because I already know what field you're in. You're a healer, so you actually deserve breaks. But what if this could be a second win / vacation / I'm an essential worker, just like definitely Vivian, and I know Dominique does essential work, real essential work. What if your work can go into more of the public speaking, consulting piece that is still essential because so many people are one post away from thinking they got some type of virus or some type of problem going on.
Okay, and we talked about the fear and all that stuff, and all of this has really been helpful information for me because I think about, you know, me being on the front lines and, you know, me having to be right there in it. And fortunately, I am not right there in it. I still have to go in and, you know, I see a limited number of patients, but I think about, you know, what am I supposed to be doing in this aside from just sitting and waiting for the next thing to happen, for them to call me up, or, you know, what am I supposed to be doing? So, yeah, I'm resting, but it's resting with a purpose.
Thanks. Okay. Awesome. else? Dominic?
I want to say I 100% agree with what has been said. I think there's definitely a balance to it all. Because yes, there are people who, because of busyness, have not been working on their assignment. There's also a busyness that has gone on in our world that I definitely think the universe has to stop and slow down, because it was an unproductive busyness. It was a busyness that was leading us down a path that I think universally was not where we needed to go. But I think the other thing too is that there does need to be a rest. There does need to be a time of being still. And again, I'm going to quote Psalm 46:10, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen, and I will be exalted in the earth." You know, if there's a commandment from God for us to be still, and there's a reason for that, because when we take the time to be still and take the time to harness our peace, when we take the time to focus on what's next, we can hear God and we can see, you know, what's ahead of us. I think, you know, Angie hit the nail on the head when she talked about just the level of busyness that we all have, depending on our position in life. But when we think about our assignment in life, how busy are we towards our assignment in life? And I think that this quarantine, this whole situation has really, you know, I'll speak for myself, has really made me uber focused on what am I doing towards my assignment in life? How much of what I do every day is towards the divine work that I was put on this earth to do? And so, you know, again, there's a balance to what we're talking about, because, you know, it's not time. You know, I say all the time, people are acting like this is a snow-in day. This ain't no snow-in day at all. You know, so you can't be sitting around, you know, popping popcorn, you know, binging on movies all day. But getting that useful rest, that needed time to meditate, like Vivian said, is essential, because this is the calm before the real storm. Like when I really got to get back in my neighborhood and really deal with with what is on the other side of all of this, when I really have to dive in and help people figure out how do you recover from a worldwide pandemic, something that most of us have not seen in our lifetime. You know, so there is definite work that has to be being done, and the work has to start in your mind and in your heart, because we've gotten too focused on the busyness of life and not enough focused on the kingdom and how we're advancing the kingdom that holds us all together.
Okay. Anybody else? I got some more questions. I gotta make up for lost time. Okay, here we go. Here's another question real quick. Okay, Jay, so we got time. Okay, it's time. Time to me equates schedule. Because again, it's your time now, right? Do everybody agree, or are we on other people's time right now? You gotta really understand where we're at right now. It is your time right now, and people are going crazy, and some people are going creative. So it's two C words that are being used right now. They're going crazy or they're going creative. And I'm just all about that creative right now. So we know it's time, right? So effectively using time to build mind, spirit, soul, energy. I just say self, family, business. Because again, once you get home right, that's the calm, right? That's the calm that everybody wants to leave the hustle and bustle to, right? So if you, people are hitting me up talking about they cleaning areas of their house that they haven't seen in a couple of years. That should be soothing to you, man. You know that area is clean. Because again, you got time to do it, right? So once you get the home right, the calm right, the first calm right, then you can go out and create that calm business or all that into your cyber life. Because that's what they're basically saying. Hey, y'all better get cyber life. So we're giving you time to get your cyber life ready. And then what if you can create that calm in your cyber life? Then guess what? Without the reality life, we know for a fact reality life doesn't exist. I mean, the cyber life doesn't exist except for the reality life, right? But they're not letting us have our reality life right now. So again, we have our home life and cyber life to upgrade. That's a lot of work. And anybody that's done needs to have a workshop to be like, hey, I'm done with this, y'all. Let me teach you how to be done. You will make $1 trillion because I don't know a lot of people that's done with their work. Might be. Regina, I think Regina might be done. I think Regina, if there are things, she might be done. And that's how hard she works. But I'm being sarcastic, but I'm not. So at the end of the day, what are some best ways to effectively use your different times to achieve a calm that, according to science, exists before, during, and after storms? So I'm not making up anything like no motivational speaker. I'm just using science. Anybody can take that.
What was the initial question about that?
What are the most effective ways to use this time to create the calm before, during, and after these so-called storms that are coming?
Well, I'd like to speak on that. What I would say is, when you do your meditation or prayer in the morning or whenever you do it, ask for divine guidance of what is my mission, what is my purpose, and thank you, God, for showing me what it is that you have me here to do, and then trust that will unfold some way, somehow. Because even if you can look back on your life, I think most of us are at some sort of age where we got some stuff to look back on. There is a common thread in all the gifts and talents and things that you participated in life that you can identify as something that is probably your divine purpose and path. I know for me, I've been a dancer, I've been an actor. I did a little bit of acting, not really an actress, but I did lots of things. But when I look back at the thread was I was always an encourager. I was the one that encouraged people to follow their dreams. And that's what my mission is even at this point, is to help people to identify what their divine purpose is and to have the courage to follow their dreams. And I think this time that we have off during this quarantine is that is what everybody's mission needs to be. There's lots of other things too, but you can have a happy relationship if both parties are living out their divine purpose in life. That makes you shine, and you're electric with energy, and who's not that's what being attractive is, having a certain energy about yourself. So I don't even know what the question was now, but that's what I wanted to say about it is spend this time finding out what your purpose is.
No, you sparked another question, so I'm not gonna let you leave. You sparked another question. It made me think, so why aren't more creative people becoming public speakers to so-called uncreative people, right? So we identify the essential workers, but are we identifying essential speakers now? Are creative people considered essential speakers?
Well, I think a lot of people are afraid to public speak when they call it public speaking, and you and I talk a lot about that. And so I like to, because I don't really like that for myself either. I just do whatever I do, and hopefully somebody is inspired by it. But, I like to tell my stories. And so I call myself a storyteller because that's the way that I'm inspired, by other people telling their stories of overcoming and achievement and whatever. So yes, everybody needs to tell their story, whether you call it public speaking or whatever. But it is so effective for people to be real and genuine about their experiences and lay it on the line. There is a time and a place you shouldn't tell all the stuff, but yes, more people need to tell their stories, especially, men too, but I'm in the field of working with women, but women really need to tell their stories for real and be honest about their finances, about their relationships, about their work and their defeats and their challenges. I mean, we need that. We need more people to be honest and genuine about life so that we don't have false expectations about what things are supposed to look like, particularly relationships. I mean, don't get me started, but relationships, people have an idealized way of what they think stuff is supposed to look like, and then when it doesn't, everybody's all depressed. But we have individual lives, so we should create those systems to fit us particularly, and people need to tell that story. So yes to that question.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up, CC. You know, because that is that's been a talking point me and Jason been having offline about how this has systematically turned into where we can create a new reality in terms of men and women being able to dialogue. Because oftentimes you see men, either women are dialoguing about men, they dogging men, or men dialoguing about women, they dogging women. But the reality of it is we're trying to show the world that ultimately, once you allow platforms for women, and then men, then you can create a consensus and learn from one another. So that's a beautiful point that you made. That's the ultimate goal that we trying to work on.
And I would say, Jason, if I can interject to your question about should everyone become a public speaker? No, they should not. However, as to Cece's point, is that you should use whatever platform God has given you to share your testimony, your story, your life experience, and especially through this quarantine time. I mean, we're talking about, I don't want anyone that's going to listen to this, what we're talking about here, and feel like we're talking over their heads, because people are dealing with real life crisis right now, and we're just blessed and fortunate that it has not affected us, direct in our homes. But at the same time, I think that, knowing you, Jason, you're one of the called and chosen ones to be a public speaker. Just because I like music doesn't mean I'm going to be able to go out here and be a DJ like DJ, CJ. But I can also, hey, I can send him my playlist. Here's what's giving me inspiration today. Here's what I'm using to get through.
From 2016-ish to before the quarantine, cut them off. Remember the cut them off campaign? Just cut them off. Can you cut off an assignment?
No.
So everybody that was just cutting it off, is it coming back? Or is it guaranteed to come back? Or does it come back stronger, come back weaker, come back in the same form? But are we all in agreement that you can't cut off your assignment?
Agreed.
No matter how empowered you feel.
It keeps finding you. It keeps finding you. And you need to really, just like DJ CJ said, you have to stay away. I call them vampires because every time they're around you, they suck that energy out of you, or they suck the energy out of the room. So you really have to watch out for those people, because you always feel, those people, you feel tired every time you're having a conversation with them. Like they just sapped all the energy out of you, and you just don't know what happened. You gotta go sit down for a minute, right? So, and I have people very close to me. I had to learn to limit my time with them because I could only take them in small increments, and some I had to cut off altogether, because whenever I am around them, we take each other's energy on, right? When you touch someone, or when you're physically in the room with them, you absorb each other's energy. And so sometimes when you're in a room with a vampire, right? When you're in a room with a vampire, you can't run. So I just had to learn to limit my time with emotional vampires. They're all, every time you got something going on with you, every time I talk to you, there's something wrong.
Come on.
Is there nothing wrong? Nothing right going on in your life? Come on, I can't deal with it. So, there has to be some joy, there has to be some purpose, there has to be something going on in your life that's going on.
and let me hear about that, because that will allow me to pour into you and pour into each other. But I can't with the emotional vampires. You just have to learn to cut them off, because you are what's most important, right? So what they think about you on an airplane, when the plane's going down and the things come out of the thing, who are you supposed to say first? Yourself.
Absolutely.
You can't save anybody else until you save yourself. So first put on your own mask, and then you will be able to free up that time to help somebody else. So.
Can I say something about that? Also, just about what you were saying, Sonya, about the people who are closest to you, who keep coming to you with all that negativity and all of that. One thing I will say is that some people come for your refinement, to strengthen you in certain areas. And especially if you have made, not you, but us, when we've made a commitment to self-development, and when we set an intention for God to give us our divine purpose and set us on our divine path, people will come to refine us and shape us and help us cut away the unnecessary. And I've been on a personal development path for many years, very intentionally. And I got one person left that keeps on calling me, and every time he calls, I say, even my girls know this. When he calls, they're like, okay, mommy, right, this is my refinement. And every time he calls, I say, okay, I'm going to do it different this time. I'm going to be more patient. And, because he needs, it's my brother, but he needs what I have to bring. And I've got to be able to be strong enough to give it, especially in the work that I'm in. And we each, like we all have talked about, have different platforms and different ways that we share our stories. But, for me, I want to help people find and have the courage to live out their dreams. And so if I'm not strong enough, I need, or if I'm not powerful enough to get that message across, I see people showing up who are gonna refine me in that way, so that I'm most effective. And I have to trust that. But yeah, you can't afford to expend unnecessary energy.
But you can't take but so many of those, man.
That's right.
one, your brother, right? So yes. Okay, so you and I have the same situation. And sometimes with family you can do so much, but when those people are multiplied, when there are multiple vampires around you, you have to pick and choose which one you can handle. And of course, family you have to, okay? But sometimes self-preservation, you have to take care of yourself. Because my best friend and I actually just had this conversation, almost an argument, because she's a nurturer. When people need her, she's there. And when I see her, she's always tired, and talking about them like, oh, I can't deal with this person. And it's been years.
I got a million questions, but again, that was a little bit over. But I think that was worth it because I know for a fact on my end, I missed a lot of this, but I know how much this is needed, not only for you all, but for the people listening in. We're going to have to piece a lot of this stuff together because of this. That's why I'm not really worried about 5G, because if you get a whole bunch of black folks together, it really messes with technology. So I'm not really worried about 5G like that. So, again, I appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart. Sonya, Regina, Liz, Cece, Vivian, Dominique, DJ CJ, I appreciate you for even taking over, and Liz as well. Because when my stuff stopped, my whole desktop just stopped. And again, I don't trip about this stuff. I laugh about it. That's how we build this. If I'm weak, DJ CJ can come in, or even one of the hosts can come in. Same way. If this stuff falls, I'll just take the lead. But we just really want this. We really want this message to come out as far as highlighting the best conversations around the world from different people,
just staying in their lane, but still compatible enough to lead as a group and highlight it together, like some Voltron type stuff. That old cartoon or Power Rangers. So that's all I got on my end. DJ CJ, if you wanted to say anything, or if anybody else had any closing remarks, this to me was a classic conversation. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Nathan is experiencing some technical difficulties as well, but he's been working them out. So we are going to have to piece together this conversation, but to me, this is a historic conversation, and I appreciate all of y'all for taking this time out. I know y'all could be anywhere in the world right now. I'm playing, but I appreciate it.
I just want to say thank you guys for letting me come in, because this was my first time even doing the Zoom. So, I really appreciate it. I learned and heard and absorbed a lot. So I appreciate it.
Awesome.
We appreciate you.
And before everybody go, I wanted to say, well, of course, thank everyone for, carving out time and being patient with all of the loopholes today. And man, we are mastering communicating. It's amazing how you all are being yourself and just emptying out, but it's not offending nobody. It's kind of like everybody's connecting with each other. So, on that note, I was going to say, Jason, can you remind us about what happened this day forward?
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, y'all ready for this? Are y'all ready for this? Now, my goal, and again, y'all can say no or y'all can say yes, whatever. My goal for this is for us to communicate like science, right? So we had a mail session, successful mail session, a successful